Hello, everyone. Welcome to an interesting edition of GBC Live. This is Zachary. We're still having a little bit of technical difficulties here. I talked with Tony earlier, and I'll give you some backup info about him. Also, the Facebook feed does not appear to be working right now, but everyone that's here, glad to see you right now. I will probably just add in the discussion there so that people that are watching can please join us here. As you know, this Saturday is the Grizzly gravel ride. I did it last year. It made my best of. Tony, you've probably seen in a lot of our videos because you just happen to be at a lot of the same events, likes a lot of the same cool things as I do. And has been a big part of the gravel community. If you are on Facebook, I'm just adding the link here to go watch it live. So hopefully you can catch it there. But we'll be here doing a little preview of the course, answering your questions, and this is a great event that is happening Saturday. A couple small things. Today, you'll see a lot of registration is open up for a lot of events, including Rock Cobbler, Sea Otter, and later in about a week, you'll see for the Grasshopper series is already popping. They have a secret ride, which I guess isn't so secret if you just go look on their page. I'm pretty interested in that. But we will get back to that in a second. If you have any questions or comments, now would probably be a good time because you do not want to see me go hand puppet mode. Another quick note, probably no send it this month, but we'll probably have one in the East Bay the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Still working on the details. A lot of cool places over there. We've never done one in the East Bay. We've obviously done in other parts. But I see Tony. He's coming in now. So we'll make it seem like magic. And let me bring him in. Hello, Tony.
Hey there. I didn't realize I had to hit that enter studio. The little blue button was below the screen where I could see.
Well, we're all good here. We're not going to have any problems.
Excellent. All right.
So how you doing?
Good. I'll be happy when it's all over.
I know organizing events are not easy. It's always juggling. And of course, the best part about it is there's never any problems the week before, right?
No.
We're in smooth sailing. Before I get in there, I just kind of mentioned the registration for Rock Cobbler open today. Do you have the history with that at all?
The history with Rock Cobbler?
Yeah, have you ever done a Rock Cobbler?
Oh, yes. Oh, I see where you're baiting me. Yes. Yeah, I do have some history there. I think I'm one of the primary reasons that thing skyrocketed. It doubled in size in 1 year. I'm the guy that I was number 4 in the bull incident day, 2.5 years ago. So actually, there were 2 people from the Fresno Cycle Club that got hit. I forget the other guy's name. He got hit twice, just like I did. He was able to finish the ride. There was a guy, a pastor from my buddy's church down in Bakersfield. He got nailed. He just got more bumped than really hit. And then there was a gentleman that just moments before he got hit, I just rode past him. I think he was out of Las Vegas. And he was walking his bike. And normally I would stop and say, hey, you need a tube or something. But, it's an event with like 600 people participating in it that day. And I thought, well, 8 million people have probably already offered him a tube, so I'm not going to hit him with the same redundant question. So I just kept going. But boy, I wish I would have asked him, because he probably would have said, hey, a bull stepped on my wheel. And so I'm walking my bike. And then when I rolled up on what I thought was a cow, only to find out it was a bull, I would have approached that bull differently.
Well, I remember seeing you that afternoon, and you were upright. You were a little gazy in the eyes, but
Yeah,
I'm so glad you were okay. I couldn't believe when
yeah,
I heard it was
I was
you.
pretty stiff. I was pretty stiff. My wife was a little freaked out when I called her in the middle of the day when I'm supposed to be writing, and said, "Now don't freak out," but this happened, and so yeah, it was unbelievable that there was no broken bones. I didn't lose any teeth. Uh, no open bleeding wounds or anything. Just some stiffness. So dodged a bullet there. But the next year, his that event grew to I think 1,200 people. So it was a pretty popular thing. Now Sam's a smart guy. I'm sure it was going to grow anyways, but I think I might have helped him step on the gas pedal there.
Well, we're not going to try and see any of that at the Grizzly.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Rock Cobbler this next year. I had to roll over my registration from last year. My son had my son and my daughter-in-law now. They had a baby shower that day, so I didn't want to miss that. So
Yeah, you got to let Sam know not to schedule on the Well, I wanted to show quickly about the Grizzly, and I should also mention too, it's not just a gravel ride. If you want to do the road option, there's that as well. And I'm for me, like every ride's a gravel ride, especially when you go out there. Like it's more about experience than like what type of bike that you have.
yeah,
And I'm sure the gravel cyclists are curious of what the road cyclists doing, and road cyclists are curious what the gravel cyclists are doing out there.
yeah. I come from like 30 some odd years of mountain biking background. So when I got into gravel biking, it was something to kind of find some middle ground with my wife. But now I really love it because it reminds me of so much of how mountain biking was when I started. There was no suspension. You were riding mostly fire roads, some single track. Now it's mountain biking's kind of flipped into the other direction where it's almost all single track, really extreme terrain. Um, so, uh, but the road riding, this event, this is the 29th year for this event. And the gentleman that started it works for the Forest Service up here, uh, still volunteers with the Forest Service. He's retired. And he's one of the guys on my committee. He just, I think he ran probably 25 of these things. And, it's it's hard to do, between him and another guy, Doug. So that was Mike Nolan and Doug Waltner. Those two guys kind of ran this thing. Both of them still helped me out with the event this year, and it was primarily a century, a road ride. So 100-mile century. It features the scenic byway. We're a charitable bike ride, and all the money goes towards a volunteer organization called the Sierra Vista Scenic Byway Association. So this ride happens to feature almost all of that. Um, the Scenic Byway is about 100 miles around, a little less than 100 miles. We're incorporating some county roads that aren't really part of the byway in order to finish the loop. But its roots are in the Century Ride. So when I came on board, I wanted to steer it more in a gravel direction since that's the way the cycling industry is going now. I think the Century event market is kind of saturated. There's just so many different events to choose from. So, and the gravel riding up here is spectacular because so much of it is on railroad grade roads, which, they used a lot of these roads to log a lot of the trees that were up in this area, uh, you know, back in the early 1900s or 1800s too, probably. So they're really conducive to gravel biking. Most railroad grade road tends to never really exceed about 5%. I don't know what the spec is on it specifically, but it seems like a lot of it I do seems kind of gentle. And this ride in particular, this gravel ride, is super consistent. You rode it last year, and it's a long climb with one little rest area of about a tinge under a mile that's kind of flat where you can kind of lower your heart rate a little bit and then get going again. But it's always 2 to 4%. So it's nice, and it's this year is just super scenic. The meadows, all the pine trees. Every now and then you'll see a deer. If you're really lucky, you'll see a bear.
Well, I don't know if you'd be pretty lucky. I don't want to roll the dice there. Yeah, I just put up here just a little overview of the ride with GPS, and we're gonna go through a little walkthrough on Google Earth in a second. But I know the funny part is you probably just on first glance, because it never kind of like shows the angle exactly on
Right.
GPS. So like when you see this first, about 25 miles, you're like, oh my Lord, that's maybe the longest, hardest climb that I'll do. But I think it never really sometimes on Ride GPS shows exactly what the grade is. And it's actually a nice, I mean, it's climbing, but there's no really wishing you needed more extra gears.
Yeah. There's no grind in it. So it's a nice gentle climb. As long as you're used to, if you're a flatlander, it's still a doable climb because it's not grinding at all. It's just the road's in nice condition. There's no sand on it. So you don't need, great big tires. I've done it for years in 38s. I keep cheating and going a little bit larger. I'm at 45s now, and that's the biggest tire I've ever had. But you certainly, 45s, you don't need anything that big. So 38s, 42s, you're golden on this ride. And your bike's gonna roll really well in this terrain.
Yeah, and I think we already have a comment here. It's a long sit and spin climb. Totally agreed. You definitely don't have to worry about sand. There's a couple spots where it might be a little bit bumpier than others, but pretty smooth. And actually, I'm just going to pull up the little Google Earth map that we have. So, I guess to start from the very beginning, where we're starting and what's going on when people get there.
Well, we start in the little town of Newhall, where I live. We start in downtown. It's not much of a downtown, but there's a couple of businesses there. So we go up Road 274. It's a paved climb, 4.4 miles. There's a traffic circle. Once you come out of that traffic circle, you'll look ahead and you'll think, oh, wow, that looks kind of steep. And it is kind of steep for maybe a little less than a half mile. Then it's going to calm down and it's going to be more consistent. In a couple of miles, you'll start getting some rollers in there. At about 4.4 miles, you're going to turn right onto Central Camp Road. And that's where the dirt starts. So you're going to cross over an old logging flume that comes down from the high country that back in the day would float logs down into Bass Lake, and then they send them down another flume, which towards the end of the ride, you'll ride under that one, entering, going back into North Fork. But you start climbing up Central Camp Road. So the bottom probably 6 miles. It's real popular down there with mountain biking. There's a great mountain bike trail there called 007. It's got 3 to 5 different sections depending on how local you are, and if the final 2 hidden sections, sections 4 and 5 that are up higher. But you're climbing the fire road. You're not going to be climbing on any single track. Now I can tell you, and you can attest to this, that this time of year there's these face flies that can be a little annoying when you're on that road. So about 7 miles up that road, uh, maybe it's 8 miles, you're going to go across the bridge and with a pretty active stream, creek below it, and there's a campground there called Whiskers, and that'll be the first rest stop. So usually by about the time you hit Whiskers Campground, those flies are going to be not an issue. Typically, if you ride at, I want to say 7 miles an hour or a little faster, the flies don't fly that fast. And so I'm 66 years old, and I can ride a lot of that ride at about that speed. So I imagine younger guys are going to be going faster than that. People that are my age, you're going to be somewhere right in that area, and sometimes dipping down below. We are going to sell those insect nets. So if you have one, bring one. If not, we'll have them there for sale for a few bucks. Or if you forgot yours, it's just handy to have if the flies. Some days you ride up there and they're just nonstop. Other days it's not that bad. So
yeah, I remember. I mean, I always put on like a little the bug spray. Didn't see, I could see them. It didn't seem to be too big of an issue with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't really land on you. So I don't know that bug spray. It's just when they're in your face, it's just annoying. And every now, if you're breathing hard, you suck one in. So sometimes I'll just put put my glasses up in my helmet and kind of hold them out a little bit more, and the net will kind of drape and not be in my mouth. And then, like I say, usually after that first rest stop, they've thinned out, and you can just stuff that thing back in your jersey pocket, and you're golden for the rest of the trip.
Okay, I just realized that I thought I was showing the map here of the starting area and everything, and but just to reiterate, the quick paved climb out, and then the flume, you make a right turn over there,
Yeah.
and and then the other thing I just remember is I mean, you can just see it on the map. It's always changing angles. So it's kind of really cool. Very beginning, you can see Bass Lake off to the west and just some of these domes up there. And
yeah, there's a canyon right in there. You just kind of put it below the screen there. Before you approach the Whiskers Campground. Yeah.
Right here?
I can't see your cursor.
I need a bigger cursor.
Well, I'm doing this on my end on my phone, so
I'll make a bigger cursor.
But you can look across that canyon, and yeah, there's some beautiful granite work over there. Not work, it's just domes and stuff. It's always nice going through there, especially in the morning. The sun kind of shines off those rocks down there, and yeah, it's beautiful right there.
Yeah, and then if you see my video, I knew there was a point where to pull the drone out. I believe it was somewhere right as you're getting to this rock that's exposed. I mean, there's a few spots in here. I remember kind of like going through this little spring area, and I don't know, it might have been just right here with this exposed rock. If you probably see the opening shot here, the video, I think you might get a better idea here. But
from right there, in the evening, you can, if you're ever up there in the evening, not that we're going to be there, you see down into Fresno from there, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, really cool to put everything all together. So
that's where the new short route is going. It's climbing up a little further. I think it's probably 3 or 4 miles further than it kind of peeled off to the right as you were climbing up. Now we're going beyond that, and right as you come out of that reddish brownish granite dome area there, about a half mile up the road, there's a split, and then you're going to drop down into another canyon, and it's just a bunch of spectacular meadows down there, and it's road that not too many people ride on. You know, I rarely see other cars down there. I rarely see bike tracks down there, so it's a kind of a secret spot. Comes back into Central Camp Road that you had just climbed up. Just it'll spit you out just below, about a mile below the Whiskers Campground, and that's for the people riding the, I think it's 42-mile loop. So it's pretty nice.
Okay, I see. I think I found it right here. Oh wow, yeah, it looks really cool. Good reason, I guess, to do the short. Wow. So then, like, I remember we saw a couple of off-road vehicles when we were here, and then we turned up, and then we kind of, I don't have it in here, but the rest area is here near the top, and I think it's right over here. Yeah. This is like
the second rest area. Yeah.
Second rest.
Yeah. That's Cold Springs. So this time, all the rides except there's a little paved ride called Loop the Lake. It's a little kind of beginner ride. It's a 24-mile loop down below. All the rides are going to be coming through that rest stop. So it used to be just the gravel riders, the long gravel riders would hit it, and then coming from the top of the screen down towards the bottom right-hand portion of the screen, that yellow mark there, the 100-milers are coming from the top of the screen back down Basore Road back into Bass Lake. This time there's been a big reroute of all the paved rides. They'll all be going up Basore Road and then doing a lollipop loop out there in the forest, and then coming back to Cold Springs there. So Cold Springs, I think it's 7,300 feet up there. Temps should be cooler up there. Weather's supposed to be a little warm this weekend. They're talking about mid-afternoon temps in the low 90s in North Fork, but should be a solid 10 to 15 degrees cooler up there, I would think.
Yeah, I remember last year. I mean, most of it, it's not till you hit, you don't hit like Bass Lake till about like mile 50. So most of the longer route is definitely at a higher elevation.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nice, especially, well, I mean, you can definitely find a lot of trees to be underneath up there.
Yeah. On the gravel route, there's definitely a lot of tree cover, so you're riding in a lot of shade. So on the climb, that's nice. On the downhill, you're looking at spotty shadows and suns. So that can be a little deceptive if there's flaws in the road, like washboard or a rock or something.
And that's like one day if I make, like, if you're getting into gravel, things you need, and I always say make sure you've got eye protection that isn't too dark, because you want to make sure. And I even find that I wear my light one for almost all the rides, because it just, the lenses get a little bit darker, which is such a a lot of times you're just trying to find where it is, and it's hard to distinguish if you've got regular sunglasses on. So I think everyone, just as a good note, great investment to get lighter sunglasses, or the ones
kind of a combo type thing. Yeah.
So then I remember there's a little climb, a little bit of climbing just out of the pit stop, and then it's just a big rush kind of heading down.
Maybe there was a little climbing there. I didn't think
very
there really
short.
was.
It won't show up on Strava, that's for sure. There better not be a segment. But then I just remember it was just kind of like, it was one of those things, like, you're like, well, I really want to go fast, but I also want to stop and take a look around. And I kind of remember we were coming down, I guess a little bit past mile 30, but when you start coming across some of these meadows along the way, over here, this is probably more like mile 32. These
Yeah.
are really
That
great
that
spots.
meadow right in the middle, I think that's SoCal meadow there. That's freaking gorgeous right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the stream is still flowing. Uh, I think we saw a couple other people that had stopped just to look at this area too. So that's a highlight.
Yeah. So
Now,
all that actually right down to that right there where you're at that meadow. Um, as you approach that meadow, you're going to make a left turn about a couple of miles up the road, probably 3 miles up the road off of the dirt road, which is 6S10X. So you're staying on the most established road up to this point until you make that left turn. And there's going to be good signage there. There's, as always, there's usually I put a sign, as you approach the turn, one at the turn, and then one coming out of the turn, so you can confirm that you're on the right route. But that section there, after that turn going down to the meadow, it's like this prehistoric pavement. It's not really pavement, and the guy that worked for the Forest Service, Mike, the founder of this event, explained to me what that was. It's like I think they oil and pack down that dirt there, but for all intents and purposes, it's going to roll like asphalt.
mm-hmm.
So you can get some pretty good speed going down there. So
yeah, that was
it's fun.
Fun kick there, and
Yeah,
if you watch the video, you'll definitely see. You'll see Vic and I were having fun, but having a problem deciding when to keep stopping and wanting to get home at the same time.
yeah.
It's
Every time I ride past that meadow down there, I got to stop and take a picture. There's a neat old barn there. It'd be neat to do some sort of an event there or a photo shoot. It's
wedding photos. Yeah, it'd be great for
wedding photos. Yeah, you see a lot of photos in local Facebook groups here, and so much of this area. I mean, we're really close to Fresno, or excuse me, not Fresno. We're close to Fresno too, but close to Yosemite. But there's so many places right outside of Yosemite that are so picturesque, and so that's one of the spots that I don't know how many times I've seen that picture used, that meadow with that barn, and people tag it as being Yosemite when in fact it's not. So you don't have to pay anything to get in there. You can drive right up with your car. It's pretty nice. Right there by that, I was telling you, you're coming down that old kind of pretend asphalt, and as you roll past that meadow, it all becomes hard-packed dirt again. So it'll be dirt for a while, but a couple miles up the road, they've paved all that too. The last mile before you get to the rest of the pavement. Anyways.
So I guess this is the part I have to ask you most about, is this new little section where I think before this little extra loop here, I think we kind of like more directly cut across, but this time you added this back roads loop here.
Yeah, I did. I have. And the problem was I drove down that the other day, or excuse me, I biked down it the other day. I went out there and did a quick little loop just kind of in that area. And the Forest Service has closed that right turn that you're going to turn off of. That road's right by the meadow and whatnot. That's called Sky Ranch Road. That's what we all call it. So that right turn, we're going to eliminate that, and we are going to go straight. And that's all brand new pavement now. So you're going to continue straight and past, I think maybe a half mile past that right turn. We would normally, the last couple of years, we've turned left and gone down through a canyon there. We're going to continue straight down the paved road. I want to say it's about 2.5 miles down that road, and then we're going to hook a left for the last real climb. It's about a 2.4 mile climb, if I remember correctly. Should take about 20-25 minutes. Again, it's pretty gentle. There's a couple steeper areas where you might see 7 or 8% momentarily.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of flat rolling areas in there too. So, but it's going to be worth it getting up there, because there's actually in your video, as you cut across, you went through a stream crossing, and then in the video, you looked across the canyon and you could see a kind of a granite formation there, and you could hear water down below. And you said, gosh, I wonder where that trail goes, or something to that effect. And that's really the neatest part of that whole canyon right in there. And so I really wanted to incorporate that, because as you're riding there, once you do that 2.4-mile climb, you're going to take a left and follow that road back to that Gray's Meadow campground. That was the last, Gray's Mountain campground. That was where in previous years we passed through there, but getting there a different way, and then did a gentle climb out of there back to Basor Road, and then the rest of the ride is paved from there. So once you make that left after that 2.4-mile climb, that's probably more double track in there, and then you're going to get to kind of a cliffy area. There's plenty of room there. That's 1 car wide. I've driven my Jeep there, but you don't have a lot of room in the Jeep to, weave back and forth. So, and it's going to be rocky in there. So I want to say that section there, getting back out to the main Forest Service road, is probably under a mile, like 7/10 of a mile, maybe. You're going to go through a bunch of broken up granite. There's going to be a path there to get through. It's not going to be like you're riding over baby's head rocks or anything constantly. But you'll get through that granite area of the trail, and then carefully look down in the canyon, because there's some beautiful ponds.
We lost him again. You could pick up some of this in the video. Hopefully he'll jump back in. Henry, who's also from Fresno Cycling Club, he's got a little called Treacherous Cliff. You're gonna fall to the left. Hopefully Tony is not on another phone call. But yeah, I remember this part coming out of here. I was looking across. I was hoping we could ride it, and I know Tony was like, "Oh, we'll take a look at it." Then I kind of remember coming out. It was a little bit bumpy making its way out. I mean, this is picking up from where last year's ride went on. Tony's still there. Hopefully he'll jump back in. I see an icon. I think he just maybe didn't charge his phone. I don't know. Definitely StreamYard here has been an interesting experience for me to put together and be on top of everything. As he mentioned, there's 3 pit stops here. And then I was going to ask him about another pit stop they have in there that is kind of special if you kind of want to imbibe along the way. But definitely super well covered in terms of being able, and I forgot to mention when you hit the very high point up there. Oh yeah, that pit stop up there had quite amount of pretty much all types of foods. Some stuff you would normally find, and then stuff that makes you want to sit down and pull up for lunch. It's almost was a little bit too difficult trying to pick out a little bit, and so you just end up eating everything.
Zach, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I just can't see you.
Yeah, I can't see how to get the my face on the screen.
Well, if you want to leave, I'll let you back in, and that might fix all of our problems.
Okay.
It's up to you. Yeah. Which means everyone gets to hear me talk more. If you have any questions about this or any other upcoming events, I just want to add too that I've been updating the calendar, been starting to put in 2024 dates, 2025 dates. On top of my 2024 dates, I think I'm already through April. And of course, Henry, who's here. I'm going to hide him, but we've already added Everyone Loves Raymond to the thing. And looks like I'm going to bring Tony back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. I know it's baseball playoff time, and I know we've got our minds elsewhere.
Yeah, my team's not playing till Saturday.
Yeah, but I know you want the other teams to tire themselves out first before they play. So I'm watching with a close eye too.
Anyways, so I was explaining that canyon. It's gorgeous to look down in. There's still a lot of fresh water down in there, and pools. It would be a great camp spot for bike camping. I've already kind of scouted that out down there. But you'll kind of clear through that where you don't see the stream clearly anymore down there, and then you'll come back out onto a fire road, take a right, you cross the stream or the creek right through that campground. Then it's a kind of a quick, a tick over like 2.5 mile gravel ride back out to Bayshore Road. There's a little gentle climb in there. It's about 9/10 of a mile, that climb. Pretty simple. And you're on Bayshore Road there.
Yeah, and I remember, you were rocketing out, and this is the very end of gravel right over here. But this was another descent where you're going 40 miles an hour.
It's a rocket ship going down that thing.
You just don't want it to end.
Yeah. There's 8 switchbacks coming down that, but we spit out right below the 8th switchback. Right at the very end, there's a couple of quick switchbacks, just as you probably a half mile from the intersection of Road 274. But yeah, doing it from the top it's pretty nice too. So.
And then from here, you circle the lake. I remember one of my memory cards somehow had popped out, and a miracle of miracle, I happened to find it on the road back here.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. But if you've never been to Bass Lake, you already are thinking vacation when you kind of go through here. It seems like a really great spot to hang. There's stuff on both sides of the lake. But I was kind of mentioning when you were off air that there might be a special stop along the way.
Oh yeah. So as we go around Bass Lake, so you're going to head north around the lake where we go counterclockwise. Excuse me. And then once you get on the other side of the lake, that side is very windy. The asphalt's not quite brand new, so hang on to the handlebars because there's a lot of little potholes and flaws in the asphalt. We don't want anybody falling over there, and it is kind of snug. So the speed limit over there is like 25 miles an hour. So cars tend to be respectful of cyclists and drive slower than on the other side that you climbed up out of North Fork. That's more of a straight shot. Mm-hmm. But on the side that we're finishing on, kind of windy, real pretty, a lot of nice houses over there. And then towards the end, as you're approaching the end of the lake, as you're approaching the dam, there's a place on the right called Miller's Landing. It's a big sweeping left turn, and there'll be a canopy out there, and it'll say Grizzly beer. And so Kevin and Michelle out there at Miller's, they've been nice enough they've always sponsored us, given us cash donations every year. And then a couple years ago, I said, I've got a couple of friends, actually, that I do the rock cobbler with from Santa Clarita, Cindy and Scott, and they always stop off at Ethel's on their way back in from the Cobbler. And so I end up, usually I'm ahead of them, and I don't stop there for beer, but they'll kill an hour and a half there. So I'm, back at the finishing area waiting for them. And so anyways, that beer stop was that spawned from Scott and Cindy and all their beer stops at the Cobbler at Ethel's. So I asked one of my guys that one of the founders, hey, would you mind asking Kevin and Michelle if they would be willing to serve a little beer there if we supplied the beer? And he kind of wrinkled his nose. It's kind of the same way they did when I mentioned incorporating gravel riding into the Century. And he says, okay, I'll ask, but I don't think so. And man, he came back with a big grin on his face. He says, yeah, they'll do it. And I couldn't believe how popular free beer is. I mean, who would have thunk it? But it's fun. This year we're going to have some non-alcoholic beer there. I'm an NA drinker. I don't drink anymore. I've been sober for over 6 years now. So I've really appreciated the last 2 events I did, the Mammoth Tough and the Lass and Gravel Adventure. They both had athletic beer there, which is a great NA beer. Tastes very similar, in my opinion, to regular beers. So if you're a little skeptical about drinking while you're riding, try the NA beer. You may like it. It's actually really good for you. It's a great hydration device. Turns out beer in general is great for hydrating. It's just that the alcohol in it kind of counteracts it. So when it doesn't have alcohol in there, it's pretty good. And the ride into town from Miller's, pretty short. I want to say it's probably under 8 miles. A couple of rollers in there. It's almost all downhill. So it's not like there's going to be a lot of effort you're going to be killing by drinking a 6-ounce beer. They're only supposed to pour a 6-ounce beer. And it turns out I was going to offer to buy the beer for them the first year we asked, but they were willing to provide the beer too. So it's the end of their season. And so basically we're just drinking the end of their inventory.
Oh. Well, did they close down for winter?
Yeah, they could actually. Last year they were closed. Last year the event was on the 7th, and they close on the final weekend of October every year. It's an agreement that all the restaurants have on the lake, and since the first weekend in October was I guess October 1st. It was a Sunday. That constituted the weekend that they closed. So they made an exception last year, and on the 7th for our event, they opened up just for that one event. So yeah, they seem to enjoy it as much as the riders do. So it's fun. And then once you get back into town hall and we do the post ride meal, we've got free beer tickets there too. So
and then you also have lunch waiting for people.
Yes. So we're doing tacos, rice and beans. We're going to have a vegan option there with some sort of a tofu as a meat and a vegan beans and cheese. So for those that are vegans, that you're set. If you're like me and you just burned up a bunch of calories and you want that pork carnitas and the beans fried or made in lard or whatever, we got you covered there too. So yeah, should be a good time. We've got the PTA, something like the PTA, that it's like a women's club that they're doing desserts there for us. So should be a good time. And if you don't want to drink anything, there's sodas and water and all that stuff's there free.
Another thing I meant to ask you about it said that there's free camping.
Yeah. So now it's not actual camping in that there's not camping benches or camping fire pits. It's not a campsite, but we share the facility. This town hall shares a facility with kind of a continuation school. This little school, there's like 10 or 15 students there. So there's a large dirt area there that we're parking cars in, and the very outer perimeters of it, we're letting people camp there. So you are free to camp there. All I ask is that you let me know that you're camping there. On the website, shoot me an email. let me know what you're camping, if it's a tent or an RV or a trailer, or you're sleeping in your van or sleeping in the car, that's fine. The bathroom, we leave unlocked in the town hall so that you can access the bathroom. Now, there's not a shower there, but if you want to, do a cat bath with, washcloths and whatnot, go for it. You can. I don't think the last couple of years we haven't anybody camp on Saturday night, but if you want to camp Saturday night too, and enjoy some more beer post ride, you're more than welcome to do that too. We've got a few people that are going to be doing that this year. Yeah, that's about the gist of it. We got some good swag. We've got about 125, I think, leftover pairs of socks from the last couple of years. So we get the black ones, the white ones. People can pick and choose. If they don't want the socks, that's fine. We've got UV arm sleeves with the Grizzly logo on it that are going to be going out, and some energy food in the swag bag, and some other stuff, stickers and junk like that. So it should be a fun weekend. The weather looks beautiful. The skies are clear. Got a little nervous today. They shut our power off, and apparently they did it in the name of wildfire safety. So it was a little breezy here. So I think with the wind, maybe they were afraid a power line was going to fall or something and spark a fire. That didn't happen. So yeah, we're golden.
Well,
now, also, I want to make sure, since we're doing this just a few days before the event, anyone that might be interested in registering, I want to offer them a discount that they can't get anymore unless I speak the discount now. So folks would want to grab a pen or a pencil and write down your GBC discount code. So you would go onto the website and go to register, and at checkout you enter this code, and it's good for 20% off the registration. So right now registration is, I think, $165 for the long ride. I think $155 for the short gravel ride, and the same thing if you choose to do the metric ride, the metric century or the regular century, the two paved rides, applies to that. So what, 165 is going to knock off about $33 off your registration. So hey, it's free money.
oh, okay. What's the code?
So the code is GRIZ24, capital G, RIZ 24, GBC, that's all capitalized, capital G, capital B, capital C, live, all lowercase, LIVE, 20. No spaces, that's all one big long word. So GRIZ24, GBC live, 20. So there's 30 of those coupons sitting in the registration coupon drawer, whatever they're calling them, and just enter that, and there's a little bit of savings there for folks.
Wow. I don't know if you can see the comments. Hopefully I got it right there in the comments in there, and everyone else. If not, I could also post in the Facebook group too, if that's cool as well. And I know
Sure.
here on YouTube, I've got a link in the description below to the website where you can find more information and everything else. And
I do want to say one thing about the paved ride, even though this is Gravel by California. Some folks, I know you even kicked around the idea of maybe doing the Century. So as I told you before we went on the typical Century here, they put chip seal gravel down. They just started last week. So I went up yesterday and checked a lot of that out. And that chip seal gravel is pretty gnarly. So we've decided not to go up there. And so we're kind of running the back half of the course backwards. So people will be climbing up Bayshore Road, the road you're going to be coming down paved. The gravel riders are coming down paved. They're going to climb up. They're going to go out onto Grizzly Road, down where they normally would, do a lollipop loop, come back up to the top of Bayshore, down into Bass Lake. So It's 4.5 miles short of 100 miles and about 200 feet short of the 10,000 feet of climbing. So it's going to be it's a great route. That climb up Basor is a little more grinding than the other one we do, but the good part about that is you're not climbing up Grizzly Road, you're going down Grizzly Road. And anyone that's ever ridden the Century, that is a miserable climb coming up, because by the time you hit that, you've already climbed about 7,000 feet, and now you got the real work ahead of you. And so it's like 2 hours climbing in that 15 miles. It's miserable.
Well, sounds like fun. But I do want to mention something. I'm not really into conspiracy theories, but whoever owns, like Chip Seal, like has to run the world, because nobody wants it and they keep putting it down. So whoever it is behind this dark matter, Chip Seal, kudos to you, because it seems like nobody seems to want it.
Well, once it's been down for a few weeks, it's not bad. Right there at the top of Cold Springs going down into Basor, they've done that area there too, but they did that about 2 weeks ago. And so last night when I was on it, driving this new route, I got out and checked it, and it was nice. It just looks like gray asphalt. So, but that stuff I looked at yesterday up the scenic byway, it was not like that. I actually took my tennis shoe and stuck it down on the ground and slid it, and I was able to get probably 1.5 inches of gravel around my tennis shoe built up. I just can't imagine a set of 28s or 25 millimeter road bike tires, going through that. So.
Well, Tony, we've had pretty extensive talk about this. I know. Thank you for taking the time the week of to talk about this. Yeah. And
thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm still efforting to be out there for Saturday because it's a great ride. Obviously you've got a lot of great people with Fresno Cycling. It's a great area.
Well, let me be clear on that too. Fresno Cycling, we've kind of parted ways. So Fresno Cycling took this event over probably 2016 or 17 from the old guy that was running it, Mike Nolan, and said that they would run it just to keep it going until they established somebody local to do it. I'm the local guy that's doing it. So I found that out in April. They decided that they wanted to bow out this year, and because they run an event, they run a double century up here the weekend after this one. So next weekend they'll be running a double century, and then they run an all girls, they call it Tour de Femme event too in October. So their plate was really full in October. So they took on the Grizzly as a courtesy, just because it had such a long reputation of being a great ride, and they were happy to kind of step away from it and let somebody else take it over.
Well, there's a person that can handle it and juggle and be in the heart and basically sniff all the roads out there. You're the man.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thanks, Tony. And please check it out. You can still sign up. The link is below. And I will add the coupon code for everyone that looks in here. So
yeah, I hope we see a bunch of GBC's jerseys here.
Yes, me too.
And if you're not here, I'll send everybody off. And we'll right, buddy. Thanks.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.